students, welcome to DSEJ virtual teleclasses. Let's continue with the chapter which we had done previously, and in the previous part, Long Walk to Freedom, we talked about how people of South Africa got freedom, how the oath was taken by the President Nelson Mandela, and what were the points raised by him for the public as well as for the dignitaries who had come to visit or commemorate his victory. Now let's move to the next part of it. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South Africa's jets, helicopters, and troops carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union buildings. It was not only a display of pinpoint precision and military force, but a demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy, to a new government that had been freely and fairly elected. Students, we have seen all happening during 26th January, our red letter days, that is 26th January and 15th August. 26th January as a Republic Day we celebrate, and 15th August as an Independence Day. Collectively we call it Auspicious Day or Red Letter Days. And we have observed that to enjoy the triumph, to enjoy that victory, there are various jets which fly on the free sky. Same happened on that particular day in South Africa too. And it was not only to enjoy or celebrate the victory, but it was depicting the loyalty of the military forces who worked a lot to attain that freedom for the nation. So they have mentioned that also. Only moments before the highest generals of the South Africa Defence Force and police, their chest bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. I was not unmindful of the fact that not so many years before they would not have saluted but arrested me. See, unmindful word I have already given you, means aware of, conscious of. Not unmindful means not aware of, not conscious of. So the point is, he's talking about the time, like I am aware of the time when if I would not have become the president today, they would have rather taken me to the jail. So this is the time when they are saluting me. So this is what is the change was seen in the year 1994 on 10th May when he became the president of a respective country. Finally, a chevron of Impala jets left a smoke trail of the black, red, green, blue and gold of the new South African flag. As we have seen that when these jets fly on the upper surface of the earth, or we can say on the open sky, so we see that it is the mix of tricolor, saffron, white and green. So here in South Africa too, it was the color black, red, green, blue and gold. These are the colors of their national flag. So this is again a beautiful thing they have expressed, that how they celebrated on the first day of their democracy or independence. The day was symbolized for me by the playing of our two national anthems and the vision of white singing Nkosi Sikelel Iakafrika and black singing Dit Stem, the old anthem of the Republic. Although that day neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem they once despised, they would soon know the words by heart. Despised here means having a very low opinion. For example, why they are talking about the two anthems? Since this country was for 300 years in the clutches of the British or the white people's rule. So during that period, the anthem which was recited was the anthem of the white people. So the African almost had forgotten their anthem. So now this was the time for them to recite their own anthem. In fact, these were the anthems which were disregarded by each other. White people didn't like the anthem of the black people didn't like the anthem of the white. Black were forced to recite their anthem. So now it was the time when both the anthems were recited together, just to hold a respect for each other, just to tell the world that we understand national unity, national integration, universal brotherhood. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War and before my own birth, the white-skinned people of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned people of their own land. The structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhuman societies the world has ever known. Now, in the last decade of the 20th century and my own 8 decades as a man, that system had been overturned forever and replaced by one that recognized the right and the freedoms of all people regardless of the color of their skin. Here in this paragraph, Nelson Mandela is talking about the discriminations during his birth, during the eight decades of his life, and before his birth. What were the inhuman things happening in South Africa with the people of that particular nation? So harshest, inhuman societies and all that stuff he's talking about. And then he said that these 8 decades of my life and the system which had completely changed now was something where people understood their rights. They understood what is the meaning of freedom. For 300 years, they didn't understand anything about it. There were few people who raised their voice, struggled a lot. Steadily, it became a revolutionary moment, and finally, it turned out to be a great day for the people of South Africa. That day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people whose sufferings and courage can never be counted or repaid. There are thousands and thousands of people who had sacrificed their life, who were the true patriots, and it cannot be repaid. We cannot do anything now because they had lost their life. Their families had suffered a lot. So he is talking about those people. I felt that day, as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. That long and noble line ended and now began again with me. I was pained that I was not able to thank them and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. Had wrought is an old-fashioned or a formal word. It means achieved. Wrought here means achieved. Now he's talking about, he's not taking all the credit to himself that he has done something like Mahatma Gandhi, the one who struggled a lot for our democracy, our independence, our freedom. He is not taking all the credits. He's talking about the sacrifices laid by thousands and thousands of the South African people, and he's talking about them that it is very difficult to repay them. There are no words what all they have done for their country in so many years. The policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. Apartheid, I have already discussed with you. It is the way to discriminate society on the basis of caste, creed and religion. So it had created a deep wound in the life of the people. If we say somebody, you are black, you cannot sit here, we will not, as it happened with Gandhiji also when he went went to South Africa, he was not given in the train, he was not given a proper place to sit. So he faced that discrimination during his travel. So same happened with the South African people. So how bad it is, how inhuman it is, how we exploit society in this manner. So it has created a deep injury or a wound in my country and my people. Nelson Mandela is telling us about it. All of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from that profound hurt. Profound, I told you, deep and strong. I mean, 300 years they were discarded. So it was not all of a sudden they will get back or they will come back to their normalcy. So he said that it will take some time to overcome those patches of discrimination, overcome those patches of wounds where they were exploited terribly. But the decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect, and that was that it produced the Oliver Tambers, the Walter Sislers, the Chief Luttless, the Yusuf Dedders, the Bram Fishers, the Robert Sebakwas of our time, men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom and generosity that their like may never be known again. He is talking about these people who sacrificed and surrendered their life for saving humanity, for saving life of millions of people who were suffering at the hands of white people. So he's talking about all these people. They struggled against apartheid. They were the one who actually struggled against apartheid. Perhaps it requires such depths of oppression to create such heights of character. I mean, imagine how much oppression they had faced during their struggle for freedom, these all people who I named. And again they attained the heights. They were remembered by thousands and millions of the South African people who actually worship them as gods to save their lives. My country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamonds. We all know that South Africa is known for minerals, gems and many more things. But then he says he has given importance to the human beings. If human beings are taken like animals, they are herded like animals, then what is the use of having rich heritage? What's the use of having rich minerals in the countries or so? It's all useless. So he's talking about the human beings. If they are treated like human beings, then only they are the true diamonds of the country, if treated well. It is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. Time and again, I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. Just for a single idea, people can risk their life. They need some determination and courage to fight for something. That idea keeps people going. I have seen men stand up to attacks and tortures without breaking, showing a strength and resilience. Resilience I already discussed with you. It is the ability to deal with any kind of hardship and recover from its effects. So he said that the people were so strong enough, they were not broken, even though they were tortured terribly. They had that resilience that defies the imagination. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not the one who does not feel afraid, but the one who conquers that fear. We have seen that there are people, we get scared of various things. There is always a hidden fear in every single individual, but when we overcome that fear, it is called the courage. So having a fear is no issue, no problem, but overcoming that fear is the strongest thing which every human being should hold. That is what Mandela tries to tell everyone. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin. Nobody has right to hate anyone because of the color of the skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. So, according to him, hate is something which we learn from the society, from the people. Love is something which is natural. If we are learning how to hate, why don't we learn? Why we are not taught to love somebody? So I will repeat this line because it's the most important line. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to human heart than its opposite. Opposite here means hatred. So it's something natural which comes to everyone. So why we are taught to hate? So it is, injected. It's just like a venom which is injected in the minds of young people. Resultantly, we see that this terrorism, these oppressions, youngsters who are brainwashed on the basis of religion, caste, creed, fanatism. So all that stuff is done, which is really dangerous. So we instead of inculcating moral, social, lovable values, we just try to push young minds towards hatred, and resultantly we get nothing but disaster. So even in the grimmest times, grim mane, saddest, I already told you, even in the grimmest times in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I already mentioned, pushed to the last point in our ability to bear pain. So push the person to that position which is called the ultimate end position. After that, the person cannot bear the pain. So they were pushed to that position. I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. He said that when I was jailed and when we were being exploited by the authorities over there, there was a one guard over there. He used to give a light smile, and that was being observed by Nelson Mandela or the people who were there with. So it was a kind of a hope, a ray of a hope that humanity is not dead. There are people who are still human beings who want to do something for the others, even though we take them as our enemies, but they still hold a compassionate heart. So that kept him going in the jail too. Last line is really very interesting. Please listen it carefully. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. Goodness of any individual is just like a flame. It could be hidden inside. A person can be nice from his inner side. Maybe he's trying to expose that is very bad or doing something wrong, but his inner side is extremely beautiful. That can be hidden, but that cannot be extinguished. We cannot stop it. We cannot put water on it, I mean to say. So it remains in the heart for a longer period of time. Well, students, in the concluding part of this prose, Nelson Mandela, he has talked about his childhood period, his young age, when he didn't understand what is happening around him. He was living in a free world where he was free to move on fields, enjoy his life, people, all together. But suddenly a day came when he realized, the moment he started growing up, he saw the people being exploited in his city, state, country, where he has mentioned that it was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an illusion. It was illusion. It was not the truth. Since at that time he was not a rebellion, that's why he was leading a normal life with his family, brother, sister, whosoever was with him. But later on he realized it was just an illusion. When illusion means something that appears to be real but it is not real in actual practice. When I discovered as a young man that my freedom had already been taken from me, that I began to hunger for it. At first as a student I wanted freedom only for myself. That was transitory freedom. But now it was a time when I required freedom for my countrymen, for all the people around me. And that day, he thought that it would be better to die than to live in the situation where we are constantly facing the slavery, exploitation, dejection, deprivation, poverty, and all that. So he from there lost everything. He lost his family, lost in the sense the moment he in the eyes of white people he became traitor rather. So from that day onwards he was deprived of all the best things of his life, that is family, wife, parents, children, and then for 27 years he was jailed. So he said that it was this desire for the freedom of my people to live their lives with dignity and self-respect that animated my life, that transformed a frightened young man into a bold one, that drove a law-abiding attorney to become a criminal, that turned a family-loving husband into a man without a home, that forced a life-loving man to live like a monk. He's written all this for himself, that this is what happened. He was chained and sent to the prison. In the last lines, which are really very important, please listen carefully. I knew that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. Why did he write it? Why the oppressor must also be liberated? The way oppressed one is, oppressor is the one who is exploiting the other person. Why did he write it? He said, a man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is also a prisoner. Prisoner of what? Hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice. He is biased. He doesn't take all the people with equality, sovereignty, love, compassion, and narrow-mindedness. They are chained in the clutches of hatred, prejudice, and narrow-mindedness. So they also need some antidote for the same. I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom. If I am taking anybody's freedom, how can I be free? Just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. So, I am not free because my freedom is taken from me. I am not free because I am the one who has taken freedom of somebody. So, I am a person who is carrying hatred, prejudice, narrow-mindedness. I don't believe in broader vision, love, compassion. So at the end, the oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. So they must be treated well. So they must come to single platform of unity in diversity, compassion, love, humility, tolerance, patience, where we can work for the common cause to serve humanity in all. So this is all about the chapter, and now it's time to discuss few questions. Students, before giving you a home assignment, I would like to discuss one extract from this prose, and the extract goes like this. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. The question is, who speaks these words and when? These words are spoken by Nelson Mandela, and he spoke these words on the occasion of the initiation of South African first democratic non-racial government. Next question is, according to the speaker, what is extraordinary human disaster? We all know extraordinary human disaster is suffering borne by the black of South Africa under their oppressive and racist white rulers. Why did the extraordinary human disaster last too long? The answer is they had been under the white rule for more than 3 centuries. Next question. What type of society does the speaker expect to be born out of this extraordinary human disaster? We all know that Mandela, he was a philanthropist, a true citizen of South Africa. Mandela expects the birth of a society that would be fair and equal for all, regardless of class, color, creed, religion, pigmentation, or anything. So now students, it's time to give home assignment to you. It is according to the examination pattern which you will find in your board examination. The extract will be given to you. Then they will give you either synonyms or antonyms. You have to, they will choose the words from the extract, as I have chosen freedom, illusion and transitory, to give the same meanings for the same. Then I have given you 3 fill-ups. Same fill-ups will be given to you from your extracts. After reading it, you will be able to answer this. Do such type of extracts more for practice purpose, because this is the kind of question you will find in your examination. Well students, in the concluding part of this prose, this chapter explores idea of struggle, setback, renewed hope, ultimate triumph of truth. Theme is summed up in the last sentence of the extract. The oppressed and oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. This is the line which we read in the concluding part of the story. So this is what is the theme. The message which we got from this particular chapter is, in fact I would say that we got 2 messages. One is love comes more naturally to living beings than hatred. In other words, we can say that the flame of goodness and love in man can never be extinguished, or love and compassion are inborn while hatred is acquired. So another message is the message of the courage. Courage doesn't stand for absence of fear, but it actually lies in overcoming fear. It helps ordinary people to do extraordinary things. It gives the ability of resilience that helps to fight the adversities of life. So all in all, this story has passed a beautiful message to the masses round the corner of the world that we need to imbibe patriotic feelings. We need to have national love, compassion, humanity, universal brotherhood. We should live together, work together for a common cause of human existence. We should not only love human beings, but we should love the creatures all over the world. We should think about the planet's beauty. We should look forward for growth, prosperity, unity. So all in all, Nelson Mandela, through this excerpt from his biography, has really passed a great information and message to the masses, and I hope this chapter will definitely bring zeal and enthusiasm in you, will bring love and compassion for the country, will help you to kindle the fire where we all live together with love, compassion and prosperity. Thank you very much. See you in the next lesson.